What's going on, guys? It's Smudger here, and today I've got a video about how to improve your overall gameplay in Cold War. We all know how sweaty Cold War is, how hard it is to, really practice on things without getting one-tapped by an AUG across the map on Nuketown. It's exhausting. I've got some tips. I've got a really good game mode that you can go in and practice on and just really improve and work on kind of some basic fundamentals that'll help you win more gunfights. So the first thing here is the game mode that I'm talking about is actually Face Off. If you don't know what that is, it's the 3v3 game mode on gunfight maps, so very, very small, compact maps, usually around domination, kill confirm, those sort of game modes. Really fast paced, really kind of short lived as well though, so if you do get in a particularly rough lobby, you're not sweating it out for 15-20 minutes like you are in Nuketown, where it's demoralising and you don't want to keep playing, because that's the worst thing you can do when you're trying to practice, is get demoralised. So if we actually move on to a few things you're going to want to be doing when you're playing Face Off to really elevate your game, and the first thing, the most important thing when you're trying to improve kind of your gunfight percentages and your gun skill, is centering. Now if you don't know what centering is, it's exactly how it sounds. It's making sure that your crosshairs, that little dot in the middle, is at the centre of where you want to be aiming. So as you round a corner, you're going to want to make sure that your crosshair is rounding that corner with you, as opposed to aiming half against the wall that you're running towards, or off in the other direction. You're going to want to make sure that you're anticipating an enemy being around every corner almost. So as you come in through that door or around that corner, you're going to make sure that you're centering directly to clear the room, and so if there is someone there, you're already aimed on them, ready to fire, ready to win that gunfight. Centering is pretty hard to practice within Cold War because everyone is so sweaty. Nuketown would usually be where I sent people in the past, but Nuketown's honestly the worst for skill-based matchmaking at the moment. It's full of hardcore sweats and it's just not worth it. The best advice I can give you is put yourself in a bot lobby, put the bots on recruit, that way they're not going to shoot back, and just really take, shoot I'd say around 300-400 bots and just really focus on your centering. Like, it's going to have to be a conscious process almost, in that you're kind of really focusing on where those crosshairs are, something that you wouldn't usually be doing in a game because there's so many other things going on. You can use the time in the bot lobby to really make sure that you're getting where you need to be with those crosshairs, with that centering, until the point where it doesn't become like a conscious thought anymore. It's just habit to have good centering, or at least better centering than what you did. And so when you do jump into a lobby, you're going to see far better percentages of gunfights won purely through centering alone, nothing else, purely through centering. And the next one is movement. I know that a lot of people don't like the Cold War movement because it doesn't feel like Modern Warfare. You don't have slide cancelling, you don't have bunny hops. What you do have though, you still have sliding, you can still jump, you can still use these things to your advantage. All you really have to do is use them in the correct way. So if someone's pre-aiming, an angle on a doorway, or, around the back of a building that you're going to have to try and get past, you just slide right on through. It catches them off guard, they don't expect it. You move at a far lower down stature, so they're not probably going to be aiming. If they're aiming for upper chest, you're already further down. Same way that they're not expecting you to move through in that speed, because I don't know if you've ever tried to track someone as they slide around a corner. It's very, very difficult, especially if you're already pre-aimed in waiting for someone. So that's a really, really good thing to do, to try and get past anyone that's holding a particularly, nasty angle, or if they're camping in a building. Similarly, jumping within gunfight. So if you're in a gunfight and you might be losing it, or maybe you just want to throw the hitbox off, throw that detection off, jump in the middle of a gunfight. It's going to make you far harder to hit, going to give you a few more milliseconds to win a gunfight. And I know a lot of people have issues with jumping and aiming at the same time, and that is because obviously you have to take your thumb off the stick in order to do that. If you can, I'd highly recommend it. I actually use a Shark-Cube controller, so you can see it's got paddles on the back. This is essentially a cheap equivalent to a Scuff or a Battle Beaver. I sent in literally a PlayStation controller. I've got another one here that I'm going to be sending in soon. And you send it in and they put paddles on the back. They can, customise it a bit if you want. So put paddles on the back for about $35, I think it was, or £30 if you're in the UK. And they send it back to you, and voila, you have, a Scuff for a third of the price almost, a third, a quarter of the price. It's way cheaper. I'd highly recommend. It's lasted really well, and I play a lot of Call of Duty. And so that's the biggest thing, because obviously now this paddle I use for jump, and this is melee just because of how I've got it set up. But it means that as I'm playing, I don't actually have to take my thumb off this thumbstick at all. And that's the biggest improvement I've seen from a movement perspective. I've had this since Modern Warfare, start of Modern Warfare, I reckon. I've had this controller now. I've seen a vast improvement in my movement. Aside from that, if you don't have the money, if you don't have the access to get that, I'd say sliding, not jumping, is going to be your biggest friend, and you can do that without taking your thumb off the stick. All you have to do is switch over from default to tactical in the button controls in your settings, and all that's going to do is switch the melee and the crouch/prone button around. So instead of clicking your thumbstick into melee, you're going to click your thumbstick into slide, crouch, prone, all of that, and it means you can still aim whilst you're sliding around a corner. It's a massive free improvement that I don't think a lot of people take advantage of still. And now if we actually move on to taking these aspects into Face Off and then combining them with something else that Face Off gives you, and that is map awareness, situational awareness. You have 3 enemies in a very tight kind of space, all hunting you down. Very quick movement, lots of grenades flying around, lots of chaos. If you can develop a sense and a pattern for the routes that these players are taking and the routes on each map, then you're going to be tenfold above where you were before you started playing, because the routes in maps don't change much. Even if you take a gunfight map and you expand it, that's all a bigger map is. There's still 3-lane maps, there's still a limited number of routes, and the moment you can start to recognise kind of patterns that players are likely to take, the better you're going to be at kind of identifying where you need to be looking at any given time. Aside from that, it's just a lot of practice within Face Off. It's a lot of practice kind of shooting bots, and that's really all there is to it. Like, the best pro players in the world shoot bots to warm up, to get that aim going, to get their thumbs warmed up. Players like Scump, like Dashy, like Formal, all shoot bots before big tournaments. I personally will shoot bots whenever I'm waiting for a video to upload, just to kind of stay warmed up. It's a nice little way to kind of make myself practice when there's nothing else to do. And that is where I'm going to leave it today. A lot of it's putting in the reps, putting in the work. I hope that these tips help you. If they do, give the video a like. Subscribe if you want to find more of me in your subscription feed. I hope you'll have a good day. I'll see you next time. Bye.